Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. Happy New Year, and have I got something to show you guys. All right, so as all the snow is melting, as you can see, we've got a lot of flooding going on. So definitely see where we need to bring in more soil and kind of taper this off. I think the ground is kind of getting a little frozen underneath, which is why we get so much standing water here. Not to mention we're extremely flat. But what I want to show you, I just went down into the basement, and every few days I come down here and I check the basement and the sump pump and everything around the French drain. And if it's getting a little high with water, I turn the pump on. Unfortunately, it's not an automatic pump as you would think a normal house is, because I just got an electric cord running out here. And it's a pump that can't stay on all the time. You have to turn it on and off. So it's not automatic with like a floating ball. And I've talked about that before. But as you can see, pump is running. It'll flood this area through here. The discharge hose is right there. It'll kind of go around the fire pit here. Good thing we've got more stone here to build up on here, because now you're not standing in it. But it'll go all the way down through there or around the shed and kind of go out to the back. So what I want to show you is, I don't know what the heck is going on, because I have never had water in the basement before. I have only had water around the perimeter, and we've only had water kind of sitting up on the deck with the snow. And as you guys can imagine, a few times I have already gotten the snow off of here. But as you can see, we've got snow that was sitting on here. It's kind of frozen underneath. And then of course, it's also been raining all day long. So you've got this crap everywhere, but I don't know. This didn't have snow on it before. It's only rained a little bit today. It's not raining right now, but holy crap, the entire basement is flooded with a good 2 or 3 inches. I hope that's not a French drain failure. I hope it's just that there was snow up on the subfloor, and it just decided to all melt at once. And then it rained today, which I don't know. Maybe it's just thrown twice as much water at it. All of my drain holes are pretty much exposed, so you can see the water can leak down through several holes that I have everywhere where there was maybe some slight low spots, or where water was sitting a little bit more than another when the subfloor kind of settled a little bit. But wow, that is just an absolute complete mess downstairs. So I will let that French drain run probably all day. Whenever it's rained before, when we've put all of this in, I've had to let that thing run for 4 or 5 hours until it can actually unload all of the French drain and the perimeter. But now that we're dealing with 3 or 4 inches in the basement along with the French drain, that's probably going to take all day to empty. So it's going to be a long time. On a positive note, engineer got back to us and we found out that we're back to using Diamond Piers. So the reason why we're able to go back to Diamond Piers is we're going to use 2 Diamond Piers in these corners, just like I kind of thought, but a little different. We don't have to put a Diamond Pier on this end one, because this end board is going to be supported by the main beam running this way, which again is a triple beam. And it's obviously going to be hung on the wall there and then bolted all the way across there. And this isn't holding up the roof or anything. So there's nothing that needs to be supported up here that's going to transfer up to the roof that's actually going to secure anything. So the 2 piers are actually going to have to go in this corner and kind of off to the side. But the reason why we're able to use Diamond Piers is we've decided to split the roof from the deck. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, the concrete that we were going to pour here had a 6,000 pound load rating, and the Diamond Piers 75 with the 63-inch poles that we're going to put out here could only go up to a 4,300 pound based on my soil. And the roof itself is rated at 4,000 pounds, and the deck is rated at 1,500 pounds. So 5,500 pounds total, which is over the 4,300 that the Diamond Pier can support. So how do we get around that? Instead of having the 6x6 in this corner, going from a foundation, coming up here and holding up this corner, and then going all the way up and holding the roof, we're just gonna have a 6x6 go from the concrete pier, go up in the middle of this corner, and go all the way up to the roof. Therefore, nothing on this deck is actually gonna be supported on that corner pier. Yes, the 6x6 will be in this corner going this way and this way, and we can put some screws or bolts going through here into the 6x6, or toe nailing through the 6x6 going into here in the main beam, just to keep that 6x6 in this corner together. But no structural load is actually going to be pushing down on this one or on the main beam that's going to push down on that corner. Again, that 6x6 is going to transfer all of that load up just up to the roof line. So that's going to be separate. We come over a few inches over here, which kind of the same thing that we were doing with the Simpson plates on the outside and that we did with the Simpson plates on the inside of the house. As long as you're within 18 to 24 inches from the corner, and we move out over here and put another Diamond Pier 2 feet over, we're kind of cantilevered over to this corner here. But when we have a triple beam here, sitting down and transferring the load 24 inches over, you're not going to be able to take a triple beam or a single ply, or on the inside a single LVL cantilevered over 24 inches and be able to snap that thing down. Again, that would be kind of sitting like this, and the support is here, but the end is here. It's not just going to snap. The deck load only has, again, about a 1,500 pound per pier. And with a triple 2x10, you're not going to snap that. There's not going to be enough weight over here. So I did the math, and we're still going to use 4 piers in the front, but they're going to be 4 50/50s. So we're going to save a lot of money because those 50/50s only have to hold up 1,500 pounds. And I believe the 50/50s are well over 2,000 or 3,000 pounds. So we're way more engineered than we need to be on those 4. And then in each corner, we'll have a single Diamond Pier 75/63, which is, again, 300 pounds under what it can handle for the roof. So more than enough weight. And if you did the calculations again before, we had a 5,500 pound load from the deck and the roof, and that was being held up by a 6,000 pound pier. So whether you're 300 pounds off or 500 pounds off, you're still more than fine, because engineering always goes 2 to 3 times over where something will actually break. So if the Diamond Pier says that it could hold 5,000 pounds, it can really hold 15,000 pounds before it breaks. But they don't want you to get within that range for out of safety. So if you're 3 times under, then you're structurally going to be fine for the life of it. We will purchase those tomorrow. And again, doing the math, the DP100s, if we would have used those in that corner, the DP100, I guarantee, would have been well over $300 a piece. And by stepping down to 275s and 4 little 50s, and then not have to pay for that soil analysis for the compression test to see how strong it was going to be, I figured out we're actually going to be saving about $500 going with 6 Diamond Piers instead of going with 4 Diamond Piers if I would have had to use the 100s. Stay with us. Tomorrow we're going to go ahead and purchase those. The roofers said that they were going to be out early this week. Again, it is the 1st right now, so Happy New Year to everyone. But obviously no one's working on a holiday, so the roofers will be here. We will get the deck finalized, purchase the rest of the stuff. We'll get knocking at that, and then hopefully for the rest of this video, we'll have the roofers doing their work too, and we can finally get water out of the house and out of the basement, and we don't have to keep dealing with this. Welcome back. It's actually been a few days since we've done any recording or doing anything at all, actually. In fact, it's January 7th right now, so because of the holidays and everything, we just haven't been out doing anything. Weather hasn't been terrible. There's just been nothing to do. But we're on our way right now to pick up the Diamond Piers, but something that I wanted to share with you guys. The roofers actually came out 2 days ago. Well, unfortunately, the metal roofing company probably only has one small crew that actually does their metal roofs. And they're running behind. COVID has people sick. One of their engineers or lead project managers, he was out sick with something else. And they basically hired a roofing company, as all builders kind of do. If your house gets built by, you know, whoever builder, you're going to have someone one day who they're going to hire do your framing, another company do your roof. And if you build 3 or 4 houses with them, it's not going to be the same company every time doing that exact stuff. It's going to be whoever is available. Now, these roofers that came out, there were 9 of them total. None of them spoke English except one. English was okay. But basically what happened was, apparently the metal roofing company who hired these roofers, who they've dealt with their boss before, told them that they were going to be doing sheathing, under laminate, and an asphalt shingle roof. Well, that's not the case. I'm definitely not doing asphalt shingles. So because of that, they basically all decided with themselves that they just weren't going to do it. So all 9 of them packed up and left. So we have no roof on, no sheathing, no clue when the actual metal roofing company is going to be able to send their guys out, or if they're going to have to hire another company, and this time not have a miscommunication of what is actually going to get done. And it still baffles me that you guys would rather make no money than some money, but I don't see how, if shingles were thrown into the mix, how that wasn't going to work out anyway, because the price that I agreed upon with the metal roofing company, they're obviously probably keeping a large cut of that for themselves, even though they don't have to do a thing except arrange for a company to come out and actually do the labor. So they were still going to get paid their dollar amount that it was supposed to be. And not having to install the shingles would have only been more money in their pocket. So I'm not exactly sure how that all got screwed up and how that wasn't going to be worth it. And they didn't like that. Again, they still would have had to done the labor on the sheathing and the under laminate. So I'm not exactly sure how it wasn't worth it to not have to install, 5,000 square feet of shingles. So you got me. I know the metal roofing company is going to do right and figure out something, or wait for their crews to be available. But again, because of the holiday and sicknesses, they're running behind. So for them to come out and just do a sheathing job one day, I don't know if I'm top priority on the list, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, so back home, let's see what we got. These are a bunch of 2x6s, and these are to finish out the inside and outside ladder framing. So up here on this side of the house and on the back side of the house here. And then also kind of where the 2x6s are here, where the gutters are going to go, we have to finish out all the front and the back for the front fascia, so the gutter has something to nail into. So that's what all these 2x6s are for. I just grabbed a whole bunch of 2x4s because I know I'm going to need them to build out the ladders and to connect all of the trusses together up top. There's a whole bunch in the garage there, but it never hurts to have 2x4s laying around. But here they are. So these little ones, as you can see, are the 50 pounders. So to give you guys a little bit more insight, again, you've got a pole that's going to go all the way down through there and come out the other side. The reverse side to this one, obviously, you can see the hole comes out here. These are the galvanized poles, and these are a lot thicker than I thought. They are galvanized, so you can see there is a little bit of surface rust on here, but holy crap are the walls of them thick. Those are definitely going to last years and years, especially down into the ground where you've got little oxygen trying to rust this out and get through this galvanization. But you can see the 50 footers, I'm sorry, the 50 pounders only have 50 inches, so you can see they're a lot smaller than these ones. The 75s obviously have a much bigger pipe too. That's a much bigger diameter, same wall thickness it looks like, but these are 63 inches in length. So these are going to be a little bit harder to drive into the soil than these guys because these are so small. But those inspection plugs, they are tipped a little. So that'll help get through the soil a little easier when we get the jackhammer. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. So not exactly a diamond because the bottoms are flat and they actually have some space down in here as a gap. I don't know why they engineer it like that instead of making it flat or making it more of a point. I guess so it can kind of act as a suction cup maybe to kind of help hold on to dirt, because when you put that down on the ground, that will happen as the dirt goes back up in there. It'll provide a little bit more, I guess, surface area, and if you tried to pull that out, it would kind of act like, you know, pulling a cup out of your sink. If there's water in it, you know, the cup doesn't want to break suction, so maybe that's why they did that. That's just what I thought. But 75 pounders, obviously a little bigger, but not that heavy, not as bad as I thought. So we're gonna probably take this 75, get the bracket and bolt it onto here, and then we can probably bolt it onto the 6x6 that we got over here, and we can kind of see how we're gonna figure out how to get these corners up. These do need cut down, but these two of these obviously are gonna have to go for the corners, and I have no idea how Aaron and I are gonna stand these up. This one here, I don't know why. It is treated. I know it looks different in color, but you can see green in there, so it is a treated one. I don't know why these ones are so much darker, but I can tell you right now, these ones are super heavy and waterlogged, and this one's kind of dried out and very lightweight. But trying to stand up an 18-footer from ground level, I don't know how we're going to get that up into the air and get that done. But the goal is to figure out how high we need to go from the ground up to where the roof is going to be. Maybe I can cut the 2 feet off or so to make it a little lighter. But if we install that first diamond pier and already kind of put it on there, and we stand this up, since this is not going to be going underneath of the porch, it's going to be going, or under the deck, it's going to be sitting in that corner. We can actually do the corners pretty easily. That all we have to do is set that diamond pier there, stand it up in this corner and get it here, and then plumb it and get it up and down, both front, back, left, right, and everything, and that'll be exactly where it needs to go. And we can dig it out, hammer it in, and it'll go right in this corner. The other ones, if we do the front beam here and get it across there, then it should be pretty easy again to then mark out where the other ones are going to be. We don't have to do too much of a batter board kind of setup here and figuring everything out and getting it square. We can just pretty much do cross measuring from that corner over here and then that corner over there, bolt on the first ply front beam here with putting some 2x4s for strength to hold it up, and then as long as we're square here, we can pretty much just measure down and use this board already in place to know where we need to set the diamond piers. All right, what I want to do first before anything though is I want to get these installed. These finally came. I tried to find the best price. It was Amazon, but it took like 3 weeks to get here because of the holiday, and it's a third-party seller. It wasn't Amazon Prime. And I actually ordered some of these, and they were actually the wrong ones. They were in my shopping cart with Home Depot, and they came the zinc plated and not the galvanized, and the zinc plated you can't use out here. So had to go back to Home Depot, return those because I bought them on accident because they were in the shopping cart. I didn't see them. And while I was there, since Simpson is right down the road, I said just go ahead and I'll pay the extra like $5 or $10 more than it was on Amazon, and I just bought another box too. So now I've got plenty. So So we're gonna, all the holes are drilled, but we're gonna go hammer out all the concrete, and then we can install all these. Then we can get started on this front beam here. All right, that's one board done. That is a lot harder than it looks. Unfortunately, that Makita drill is a drill. It's a hammer drill. It's got a hammer drill setting, but that's not a hammer drill. If I actually had a hammer drill, even electric, I'd be punching through these no problem. It probably takes a minute or so each hole to go through there, and we're only going in about 4 to 5 inches of concrete, but still ½ inch in diameter with a drill not really made for it. That sucks. That I'm gonna have to shoot some spray foam into, and out of all of those bolts, I only hit rebar once. So this one here was hitting rebar, so I'll put my gun in there with some spray foam, shoot it in, and we'll clean that off. So just took a phone call. We're gonna be taking a break here for a minute from drilling out the rest of these bolts because my back and arm need a little bit of a break. But it looks like we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more to go. And I only did 8 on that beam because I drilled 3 holes the other day to see how hard it was gonna be on my own. So 10 more, I need a little bit of a break. But Aaron's been cleaning up the yard. We're finally gonna get rid of all this trash. I found a local company that was only about $200 or $300 to bring a dumpster bin over, because this thing right here, I did pay like $35 for it, but as you can see, it's already full. You can't put that much in it, and then they want to charge like $160 or something to take it away. So for I think it was $300, we got a 20-foot bin coming, which that's only 8 foot. So, and it's this bin's also like 7 foot high or something, so we can put literally all of this trash in here. So the property is finally going to look cleaned up today. So again, we're going to take a break. They're 15 minutes out to dropping that off. We're going to throw all this trash in there, and then we'll get back to the deck. All right, hopefully you guys can see this. I've got the floodlight over here, but we got the front boards on, and then we've got a 2x bracing this gap where this middle one is kind of the shorter board. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this one, but another 2x4 right here, bridging the gap. So these are connected together. We've got bracing up around here, and then as you can see, we've got the laser going all the way around. So we've already measured the front down, so we know where our height needs to be for, actually I should call this the back. So we know from here down to here where we need to be, roughly 3.5 inches. And then I went ahead and set the front here at 3.5 inches. So we went ahead and adjusted these ones here, the supports, and the ones on each side here and here. And now we're completely level all the way around. So laser at night works awesome. We also got it pretty much squared up. We're about 1/4 of an inch off in this corner. Or this one's 1/4 long and that one's 1/4 short, but close enough. When I start putting the Diamond Piers here and over here, it should, we can kind of pull it when we screw it in and stuff, but it shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to stay out here for a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and measure right now from the ground down in this corner, or where that joint is, and I'm going to go ahead and put a Diamond Pier on the ground, kind of get it roughed out, and then get a rough measurement of what I need from the bottom of these boards here down to the top where the Diamond Pier will be. I'll go ahead and cut that tomorrow, but we'll kind of just go ahead and lay everything out, and we should be good to go for tomorrow. All right, good morning. Actually, kind of late afternoon. Yesterday, waking up at 7 a.m. and going all night, and being a third shift worker, I pretty much crashed till about 2 o'clock today. But as you can see, we got pretty much all of the trash picked up. There's just lumber and stuff. Don't know what I'm gonna do with that. Probably burn it eventually, but that's the only thing that's really not cleaned up, and a few sheets of the zip panel that I tore the zip R panels. I tore the insulation off and threw that away, but kept that wood, and we can burn it too or use it for scrap. But I stayed out here last night, and I actually did get one full Diamond Pier actually installed. What I did with this 4x4 here is right where the crack is, where the two boards come together. I got that 4x4 plumbed up front to back, you know, left and right, and then marked it on the ground, dug out the Diamond Pier where it needs to go. And yes, I did put the pins in, because those pins again are the little ones and they're only 50 inches long. I just hammered them in with a sledgehammer. I did mushroom the top out a little bit from hitting them with the sledge. I don't think an electric jackhammer will do that. So to get the caps on, I will have to get my grinder and kind of grind them out a little bit, because these are hard plastic and they don't flex at all. So I'll grind that out a little bit and put these on. Not a worry though. Yes, hitting those exposes the steel and gets the galvanization off, but these caps are supposed to be put on with silicone. And the top here, as you can see, when we grind that down, that will be siliconed, and then these little indentations right here, those will get silicone in there. So you won't get silicone in between the concrete and the pipe, and you won't get water or anything down in the pipe there. These plates come with a square washer, and the Diamond Pier comes with a circle washer and the nut. And you just set the plate down on there, washer, nut, and then there's a secondary plate on here that you set down. And then we went ahead and used some deck screws, some galvanized nails, and then there was a big hole in these plates. Not sure what that big hole was for. The install says you only have to use 8 galvanized nails to put in here. So I'm not really sure why there was a big one, but we got these massive like 4-inch GRK screws to go through that middle one, and it's just there for safety. But we got the 6x6 cut out, and then these plates here that I have, these are 5.5 inches wide on the bottom and 4.5 inches wide on top. So the bottom obviously fits a 6x6, but the tops here will fit a triple beam to fit in here nice and snug. And then that was it. We still have to obviously screw down here on the top, and right now we're still pretty shaky because we don't have the joists in. But I'm gonna go ahead and knock another one out for you guys over there where that second joint is, and then I'll set up the time lapse and we'll get the other ones in. Probably not today because the sun's getting close to setting here again, because I was sleeping, trying to recover on sleep from work. But we'll get at this in a second, and then hopefully we'll wrap this video up here. All right, that's pretty much it. It's pretty well secure now on the ground. I'm not going to keep smashing this one with a hammer and have to grind every one of these tops, so I'm going to stop there and get the electric drill tomorrow. But you can see how easy that is. Literally 5 minutes. Marked it, dug down a little bit. You can see we're up to kind of the girdle around to the side. Put the pins in, make sure as I was hitting it, we're still level front to back, left to right, and drive the pins in, we're done. We got the plate up here. This is what I was talking about. I have to cut this one open, but there's a washer in there. Plate sits down first with the sides, and then the cap goes on top after, and it just sits on there. It doesn't bolt in or anything. But you remove the nut and the washer off of the Diamond Pier and set that plate on, and then we can go ahead and get our measurement from the top of that plate up to the bottom of the wood here. This probably does have a little bit of sag in it, so I'll have to wait a minute to set the laser back up and make sure I'm the same in the front as I am on the back, or back to front, whatever you want to call it, and make sure that I measure up correctly. Yesterday I was a hair off, nothing that you're gonna notice, but I did measure this pole out from the base up to the bottom of the wood, but as you can see, you get about 1/8 of an inch gap where this plate sits before it hits the bottom of the wood. So this pole right here, technically speaking, is probably 1/8 inch too high, but nothing that you're gonna notice on a deck. So I'm going to get knocking at the other two, get that pole measured out, cut it, and we'll be good to go. We got 2 more to do. I'm gonna wrap today up here, and actually this video. Thanks for sticking around. I know the video started out kind of funny, and then with the roofing on a bad note, but back to a good note with the Diamond Piers. Got 2 set already. Third one is kind of ready to go. I did finalize my brackets here, and if you notice, these end ones are these like internal flush brackets, so you don't have the wings kind of sticking out to the side like you do on these ones. And that's obviously because when you're working with an end, you don't need a wing sticking out in the middle of nothing for nothing to nail into. So these wings are kind of turned inward and you nail it on the inside. So this outside board is now completely done. 2 things I wanted to show you real quick. This one here being so close to this one, that's on purpose, and then close to this one also, and then we started 16 inches on center. The reason why these 2 are going to be so close together is because this outside board has nothing to attach to. So when we set our internal blocking here in between each one, we'll have blocking all the way down so it's more structurally sound and strong. The problem is because this one here doesn't have anything to push on the outside. Like on the inside of the house, obviously we had the internal LVL and internal LVL, and once the last block went on and was nailed into that LVL, and then next over was the joist, you get rid of all your shaking. So these outside ones, instead of having just a single block in the middle, we're actually going to put a block every 16 inches on center. So the 2 outside ones for this side and that side will basically be built kind of like a structural box, and that'll take down on any of like the bowing or swaying that should happen with the porch. So you're just reinforcing this outside one to make it that much more structurally strong to help with that. The last thing I wanted to go over with you guys is I've seen some people building porches, and I saw, they won't be named, but I saw it on YouTube. They're building their own house, and you see where my joint is? See how my joint is over top of a load-bearing surface? Well, what this couple did on their outside porch was, there's nothing wrong with the way they did it, it's just how they executed it. They actually took their beams and laid them flatways, but they made them 7-ply thick. No problem with that. I don't know why they didn't go vertical. 7-ply times 1.5 inches. I think 10.5 inches. Technically, you couldn't achieve that with a 2x10, since that's only 9.5 inches, and a 2x12 would be 11.5 to 11.25. So maybe 10.5 is what they wanted to go with. I don't know, but they made their 7-ply thick, and where they executed wrong was, let's say their bottom plate, they went from post to post, and you're spanning that joint. Okay, no problem. If it's only 1 ply thick, you're going to have a little bit of deforming down there, so you throw on a 2nd ply. Where they failed was their 2nd ply, they put a joint like right here in the middle of nothing, and then they put another joint here, and then they put another joint here, and another joint here, and then I think on the top plate it was back to being a hole again. Structurally, what that means is that 7-ply beam is actually only a 2-ply. I actually freeze framed it in one spot, and where they had their 2 posts set up, I counted 5 cuts throughout that beam. And the reason why you have to think that that's only a 2-ply now instead of a 7-ply, imagine if you just had 2-ply. Imagine you just had a board running from one post to the other, cut another post directly in the middle, and then went to stand on that. Those 2 joints coming together, they're not doing anything structurally. Think about it if you turn that upside down and you stood on it. Every time you stand on it and put weight, that space where those 2 boards are coming together are basically going to be separating. So you don't have a 2-ply, you only have a 1-ply. So please, when you guys are building things out, talk with an engineer. Don't just go at it because you think that'll be right. That beam that they made was like 20-30 feet long, and again, only a few of the joints ever went over top of a load-bearing surface. Again, putting a joint here in the middle is not going to do anything, and it doesn't matter if it's running horizontal or if the joint's vertical. Again, if this beam right here, if I just decided to cut this right here, what's going to happen? It's just going to fall. Granted, there's no beam over there, even though it is hooked in the corner. This is still going to separate, and it's going to start to split at the bottom and open up. And yeah, the top is going to try and push into itself to kind of keep it together, but it doesn't matter. 20 pounds of weight on this pushing down, and that split is just going to cut. So again, whether it's vertical or you got a horizontal split this way, please don't build a beam that way. I think they'll be fine. They don't live in a snow area. I tried to comment on it and say, hey, just be careful. I noticed you've got so many boards coming together, which bridging your gap is smart. Obviously, putting every single one of your joints here, they wouldn't have been able to do, because then it wouldn't be a solid beam. You would just have a split and a split and a split, and I mean, technically, I guess they could separate, but the way I'm going to get around that is, yes, all of my joints are going to be here, but since this is only 3-ply, I am going to stagger the joint about 1 inch to kind of make like a keyway. And then on this one, on the outside one, on my 3rd one, I can either make it in line with this one still, or I can make it 1 inch go this way. Obviously, I've got 5.5 inches of working space here, so if I just split my joints a little bit, then no matter what, if I send a bolt through here, like up here at the top, I'll still be pinching all 3 of these together, and they won't really have an opportunity to separate. So it just depends, I guess, on your surface, how much load you've got. Obviously, if it's only like this big, staggering a joint isn't going to be that great, because you're going to be not putting all of that load directly over top where you need to be. But just a little tidbit that I wanted to add. I've seen people do it. It's not structurally safe, and again, if someone's going to comment, well, that's how LVLs are made, and you're right. LVLs are made with multiple sheets, just like plywood, but where they have a thin layer of the LVL where there's a line, that line is usually zigzagged 1 inch or so, and then it's glued together. So it's kind of like teeth fitting into teeth. It's not a smooth cut. So you got teeth fitting into teeth, they glue it, and then they put another seam really far away on your second ply, third ply, and I think my LVLs on the inside of the house, I think those LVLs are probably 7-8 ply thick. In fact, here's one right here. So these are the LVLs that are going to be going up on the roof, and that's going to be 3 LVL thick too. So we're going to make 2 beams out of these that's going to attach to the ICF house, run out, and then sit on that 6x6. So three LVL thick. And these LVLs are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. These are 15 ply thick. So every place where there's a joint and they glue it together, they're not putting another ply glued together over top. They're staggering, but that sawtooth pattern kind of works a little bit better. Instead of just taking an 1.5-inch board, cutting it smooth, butting them up, and think that that joint's going to hold, because it's not. It's going to snap as soon as you put a load on it. So just think about that in the future. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, thanks for sticking around. Please like and subscribe, comment if you guys have any questions, and hopefully our next video, you know what, I'm not even going to say it, because the last time I've been saying something's going to happen, it's not happening. I think I'm jinxing myself. So again, like, subscribe. We'll see you guys later.